And we're live. Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes Podcast Week 3 edition. I am your host, Chris Kirkwood, screen name Kirk D's, here with my two boys as usual. First, returning back from the same show from last season is Bobby Gomes at Bobby Gomes DFS. Also here with our boy, the OG, the notorious one from RG, Derek Farnsworth at RG_notorious. What is up, fellas? Week 3. Noto had a good week last week. And interested to hear how you did, Bobby. But what's going on, fellas? How you doing, Noto?
Yeah, doing good. We spent all our weekend analyzing the comments on YouTube, so the energy's up. The gain is down on the microphone, so don't worry. I'm not yelling at everyone on the podcast feed, but had a good week. Largely thanks to Bobby. Ended up getting on Keenan Allen while we were on the show. We kind of dove through his splits. A lot more air yards this season, so ended up playing him with a bunch of guys. Finished top 1%. Only played 3 lineups, but that one was pretty good. So really nice week for me. I'm no Squirrel Patrol, but trying to get there.
You got to run like God to be Squirrel Patrol and be very talented as well. But you're just waiting for the God to run like God part. You'll get it. Bobby, what's happening?
Yeah, it was not the greatest week for me. Played way too much Travis Kelce, but I had some other good plays. I just couldn't put it all together. I usually go pretty heavy if I have a feel on a guy, and I had some Keenan, I had Amon-Ra, I had Tank Dell, but definitely had too much Kelce, so didn't turn out it wasn't the greatest week 2. Hopefully, we'll turn it around week 3.
Dude, all right, I'll get the quick rant. I had the worst week in week 2. Not only was I moving, did the final move, which is the worst thing. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It is the worst thing ever. Also had a crying baby, a crippled dog. It just made life so hard. Tried to do then Saturday night, the UFC picks weren't the greatest. It was 0-1 officially. We had a draw and a no contest. We got robbed with the draw. But anyways, then I got smashed on Yahoo, super smashed. I played because T. Higgins was grossly underpriced, and I knew everyone was playing him, and everyone was going to play Diggs, and I decided to fade Diggs, which was fine. Diggs didn't really do anything, but the whole thing was I was playing Jamar Chase as opposed to T. Higgins, and they both did nothing first half, and then Higgins went off. So it was a bad week for your boy, but we're back. I'm fired up. I got the energy right. We thank you for the coffee that one of our listeners sent us all. I appreciate that. But we're all good to go here. So let's talk about it. Week 3, we've got it's a pretty interesting slate right off the bat. I mean, it's kind of like week 1, except even on steroids. It's we've got this one monster total game, right? We've got the Chargers at Minnesota with a 54.5 point total. So we're going to have to discuss how we're going to navigate that, whether we're just going to jam it or we're going to have to play some lineups smartly to take stuff down. But then from there, the next highest total games is Denver at Miami, and that's a 6.5 point spread. Miami favored. So the Denver defense looks awful. The Miami offense should roll in this one, but that's got a 48 total. Then you got the Patrick Mahomes game, 12.5 point favorites, which is a little concerning, especially with the way Chicago has been playing. I don't know. Can Chicago surprise us and keep, push back and keep this game going? I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts with that. 48 point total there. And then the last game of any significance, at least from a total perspective, is Atlanta at Detroit. Detroit -3 at home in the Dome, 46.5 point total. Interesting thing is when Detroit is favored at home in the Dome, their games go off typically. So I don't know. I'll be interested to hear because Atlanta certainly looks kind of like a slow plotting team, but they may be forced into a shootout here with the way that Detroit's been going. So those are kind of the games. We've got a bunch of other games. We've got some value. Is there any injury news? The big injury news that came out, that dropped today? I know we're waiting on Anthony Richardson. I know we do know that Andy Dalton's going to be playing QB now. this week. But what dropped big, or what are we waiting for? Noto.
Yeah, I believe Richardson has been rolled out, so Gardner Minshew is going to start. Running back, we're still waiting on AJ or Aaron Jones, and then David Montgomery's doubtful. Jamal Williams probably not going to play. Eckler's been ruled out officially. Justice Hill's been ruled out. Wide receiver, pretty much just waiting on Jalen Waddle. That's going to be one of the bigger injuries to monitor leading up to Sunday. Zay Jones has been ruled out. I think
Christian
that's
Watson is one
Christian
we'll be
Watson,
waiting
yeah.
for, and Aaron Jones, because like those two together will affect the chalk of the min price chalk smash last week. So, all right, big picture standpoint, how do you feel about this slate, Bobby?
Yeah, everything's kind of around this Vikings Chargers game. Both totals have gone up 2 points since the open. So pretty much trying to sort through who I want to play in that game. I like playing like low owned pieces in games like this, although obviously Justin Jefferson's a key piece. So is Keenan Allen. And when we talk about Mike Williams' price, you're going to understand why he's important in roster construction as well. So it's going to be heavily owned. I'm pretty sure it's the only dome game, right? Well, I don't know. Arizona and Dallas isn't really a dome, right? Arizona's a dome, but it's the only one with a total that we're very much so interested in. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems like trying to figure out how to build around that game is probably the way I'm trying to go in tournaments and cash games, I would say.
Detroit's still a dome too, so we got that. We got a
couple
dome spots.
Detroit,
but there is a lot. But the point still stands. This is the monster total in a dome. There's a lot of weather that are implications in a bunch of other games. Check out what Roth has to say there. And but yeah,
the pace in that Detroit game is totally different, though, right? Like it's two very slow teams.
Well, it's possible. I mean, Detroit seems to push. It's Atlanta that is the scary one, at least through my eyes. But they may be forced to keep up in this game. So, and I think I think Montgomery's going to be out. I think that's big. I mean, maybe we'll get more Jahmyr Gibbs. I hope
slightly.
So. Craig Reynolds
it's going to be Reynolds.
Still the touchdowns.
It's 100% going to be Reynolds. Like we've seen this for 3 years now in 2 games.
Yep.
I'm being an optimist here. Okay.
Yeah, it'll probably be a.
It's all gonna.
I'm an optimist for Reynolds.
Wow, really?
I'm with him. Like I see that there will be a slight uptick, but you're still going to see Reynolds get the Montgomery usage.
Oh my gosh! Thank God I played Aaron Judge on Yahoo. But it's only anyways, all right. Big picture overview. You got anything, Noto? What stands out to you the most?
I mean, Chargers, Vikings, obviously going to be a big talking point. I think it's 5 points higher than the next closest total. So, yeah, we'll talk about all the pieces, ways to get different, and, kind of some stacks. I think the Baltimore-Indy game could be pretty good. I think Minshew's kind of a sneaky good quarterback, and if he keeps that game close, I think that one has some shootout potential as well.
Yeah, so speaking of shootout potential, so I always look at the blitz most plays and Thorman snaps and pastes from over at ETR. They both have it the same. They're both aligned this week, which I always like to see. They got the Chargers at Minnesota as the number 1 fastest pace, most plays. Cardi's got Indianapolis at Baltimore the next. And then Houston at the Jags, the one top 3. So both are aligned for top 3. So those are the games probably to key in on. But what we'll do is we will do like we always do and go running back, start there, favorite running backs of the week, identify some chalk, give some nice pivots that we like, then take it over to QB, and wide receiver, close it with tight end. Bobby's going to hit us with the Bobby Gomes DFS defensive segment. Maybe if you're lucky, we'll get an ad read from Bobby in there in between, and we'll take us home with some stacks. So running back's interesting. There's going to be some chalky plays here. One of the plays I got right last week was Zach Moss. I played him. Unfortunately, it didn't work fully because I had some I had Josh Kelly with him, so that hurt. But Zach Moss is going to be chalky. We're going to talk about. There's also the situation with Cleveland, with Chubb being out. So Jerome Ford, who looked great, but then they go and sign Kareem Hunt. Tony Pollard looks awesome to me. There's some other chalk plays, but Noto, what stands out to you at running back? Who are your favorite plays?
Yeah, the chalk running back has not worked well so far this season, and interested to see how owned Jerome Ford ends up being. We've seen two chalky running backs already struggle against the Titans, and I don't think I want to go there, especially now that Eckler's out. I do like Josh Kelly, even at high ownership. You get access to that game, which we like a lot. He's not going to have a lot of competition for touches, and we saw him play well in week 1, so I'm not too worried about his last week's dud. On the other side of the game, what are you guys doing with Alexander Mattison? I know they brought in Cam Akers, but sounds like he's not going to play this week. I mean, he hasn't looked good at all, but great game environment, pretty good role. Are you guys back in on Mattison?
Yeah, I'm back in on Madison. They had two very difficult matchups, and they just completely, like, the Bucks and Philly, and then we're just going to blow it up and go to Cam Akers. Like, I don't really understand why they try to trade immediately for a backer. I get he fumbled twice, but previously, like, he hadn't fumbled at all in his career, like only 2 other times previously. So I don't know. This is a good matchup versus the Chargers for Madison. I have no issue like firing him up again, and hopefully the recency bias stays with him and people kind of shy away. The interesting thing you hit on him with Ford is, like, are people going to play Ford because they're a really good play, but how's recency bias going to affect his ownership? That's where I'm coming in. I feel like people are going to have the same thought process as you. 4,800. I don't know. Was he involved in the passing game? I feel like he was a little bit. Didn't he catch a touchdown? Like, at that price, it's still, what did we pay last week for Kelly? Was it $5K? So it's not that much of a difference. I don't know. It's Ford's ownership is going to be, like, I'm currently feeling the same way you feel. Like, I don't want to play Ford, but now I'm wondering, like, how low owned is he probably going to get? What are we going to see, around 10% when he should be about like 18 to 20? Yeah, so that's going to be a difficult decision for me, whether I end up fading him or I come in above the field. But definitely like Madison. Best running back on the slate for me is Pollard versus Arizona. I just think it's a really strong matchup situationally. Zach Moss is another guy who I think it's a really good play for Moss. Baltimore's run D, I think, is very good, but we're getting a 3-down back at 5,500. It's hard to get away from Moss. And then Travis Etienne, like, I was worried about the passing situation not being sticky, and it turned out it wasn't last week. But at 6,900 versus Houston, like, he could absolutely demolish this Houston defense. So I like Etienne a good bit as well. Any other thoughts you guys have at the running back position?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what the problem is, or at least what people are going to think with Jerome Ford. Number one is just Tennessee, right? Like, it's just like that's why we're cutting Kelly some slack, right? We're willing to go back to him this week because of the tough matchup and the fact that he looked good week 1. That's just a brutal matchup for him. So, and we have other pivots all around. And, it's not saving us a ton, to go up to Josh Kelly in that monster total, right? Where he could end up being one way that, he looked really good week 1. If we cut him some slack, this could be the spot to play him again in that game. I'm with you guys. So the thing, Zach Moss, right? The reason why he looks good. I mean, I was looking at it today. So he had 22 touches He ran the second most routes by a running back. And then I looked up his snap share. It was 98% snaps. And I'm like, Jesus, like this is like the ultimate. Yeah, this is the ultimate like bet on usage guy, right? Like not bet on talent. Usually it's bet on talent, bet on usage, but this is just strictly usage. And the problem is the matchup isn't great. It's not Tennessee level bad, but Baltimore's been pretty good against running backs so far. They project to be very good against them. So that's some of the food for thought. Tony Pollard, Bobby nailed it. I mean, he looks like a smash, right? The only problem is the price there, and it's then it's tough to fit him with Justin Jefferson and some other plays. But like through 2 games, 39 carries, that's third. 11 targets, that's first. But the one thing that stood out to me was 12 carries inside the 10-yard line, which is the most. So they're favored, 12-point favorites, 12.5-point favorites. So should be able to get a huge workload and should be able to produce. And I would say his skewed efficiency numbers that people are talking about, I've heard people saying so far, are mainly due just from the Jets D, right? Like that Jets D came to play in that week 1 game. So he's the man. Travis Etienne, Bobby nailed it again. 6,900 versus Houston. Sign me up. I would play head chopper in this spot. Against Houston, I've been running out head chopper for years against this Houston D. But
he crushed last year against Houston too. 245 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown.
Yep, 18.7 fantasy points average versus Houston. And good workload, 72% of the snaps. Houston's given up the most rushing TDs so far. So yeah, I'm on board there. I personally, I just want to see Jahmyr Gibbs go off, and I just something about that Detroit Dome that, they're gonna, I'm expecting Montgomery to be out, and Craig Reynolds could be a thing, but like, why? There's got to be an uptick, right? There's got to be he's got to get a few more carries, a few more dump offs potentially. But it was nice to see 9 targets, 7 receptions last week, only the 7 carries. But this is a guy who's can definitely break a 60 or 70-yard screen to the house or a run. So I'm going to be playing him. But
I just know I'm going to end up getting that text from you on Sunday. Why did I play Gibbs? That's what you're going to text me.
I like the other rookie in that game.
Yeah, let's go. Who?
I like Bijan Robinson quite a bit. Saw his rushing attempts go up to 19 in week 2. If you look at his receiving stats, he's ran around on 75% of dropbacks, 22% target share, which is kind of unheard of for anyone not named McCaffrey. And both those guys have explosive potential. So I think they're interesting.
7,800 feels cheap there too, doesn't it?
Yeah, less than 10% ownership at the moment
in the dome.
Then one other guy I wanted to bring up, Raheem Mostert. So everyone's going to be playing Tyreek Hill, especially if Waddle's out. And now it looks like Salvon Ahmed's going to be out as well. So, I mean, Mostert could have, most of the touches in this backfield. Nice little leverage play off of Tyreek. Any interest there?
I think Denver's been pretty good versus the run. I think you just play Tyreek. Be perfectly.
I mean, honest. I'm playing Tyreek. Yeah.
I get what you're saying though. Like, who is it? Achane's the only one that's really behind him. Yeah, it's definitely interesting, especially at that tag. He's coming off the 2 touchdowns.
Who's Denver played? Jacobs and Brian Robinson.
Actually, Brian Robinson went off, right? I think Jacobs the first.
Denver's defense looks awful. I don't know. I got to.
Oh, it looks awful. For some reason I thought it was good for whatever. Sorry for the bad information, guys.
Let's see.
No, they looked awful. They were like the chalk play on a lot of sites last week, but then they just gave up massive amount of points to the Commanders.
It was like a weird situation in that game, though, right? A lot of it came like later in the game. I don't know.
The game just, I don't know. I wasn't even watching it because I had no interest in it.
I can't
whatsoever.
watch Russell. I just can't do it. Yeah.
I was already dead. I was already like, okay, I'm building showdown lineups. You know, how do I get this money back? You know, type thing.
I seen that game going off, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So it looks like they're like mid-level, like a little bit positive of a matchup so far for fantasy points to running backs. But yeah, I love the Bijan call. What about guys like AJ Dillon?
I can never play AJ Dillon again.
Fell for that last week.
He's dead. He's
never
dead
again. I didn't play him last week, but I had him in season long for like the last 2 years, and he's just terrible.
Unless it's like snowing. If it's snowing and cold, then that's when you play Dillon.
Yeah, he's slow as can be too. He's like molasses.
What about Pacheco getting? I mean, this is the fool's play every year is the running back on the Chiefs, unless it's a pass catcher and they are down all game. But like the problem, like every year we try to make a running back on the Chiefs work because they score so many points. They're big favorites. But at the end of the day, they're always a passing offense. That's their identity. It always has been. They're going to do those little things to Kelsey. They're going to, create little plays for like Tony or, whoever this season. I don't know who it will be this season, the way that they've been playing. But Pacheco I've at least thought about it at 5,400 against the Bears. I would slot Head Chopper in this matchup too as well for 5,400. But any interest, Noto?
Maybe a little. I mean, CEH only played 10 snaps last week, so maybe he's like a healthy scratch. If that happens, then I'd certainly be more interested in Pacheco. Yeah. What about you, Bobby?
Yeah, Pacheco, I think is a tad banged up. Correct? Is that does he have an injury tag? I feel like he does. Yeah, I don't know. Not really. If Pacheco's a full go, then yeah, I have interest. If not, I would have some interest in McKinnon. I know it's not a passing script. It doesn't fit McKinnon's situation. But yeah, we've seen games where McKinnon in non-passing scripts, especially like week 16 or 17 last year, he went off completely. I don't know if I love all the chalk running backs. So I could see myself like taking a chance in that way. But yeah, that's more of a Sunday decision than anything else.
How much work does Kendry Miller get? 4,300.
That's what does he play more than 8 to 12 snaps? If he's playing more than 12 snaps, I have interest. 4,300. I just don't know because it's a hamstring, right? That he's coming back from.
Yeah.
He looked good, like when he played in preseason. He looked very good, and he was involved in the passing game. I think you also have to worry about Taysom faltering as well. Taysom looked good the other night, so I don't know. At 4,300, if we get word that he's playing a good allotment of snaps, then I'd have significant interest. If not, I'm probably going to stay away and kind of let it happen. See how it plays out.
Full participant in practice yesterday. Looks like he's going to be.
He should definitely be the guy over Tony Jones. Like, I don't see why you would play Tony Jones. The issue is, like, within the infrastructure of an NFL roster, they never want to give the rookie that, like, they'll always start Tony Jones in the spot, and then they'll ease the rookie into the game. That's the issue I have. Unless they come out and say he's starting, but like 80 to 90% of the time, it's never going to be the rookie running back that surpasses the vet, right?
I think that's a sharp call, though. 4,300. He's not being talked about a lot. Yeah, I can see that. Who else? We got any flyers? I mean,
Walker seems like he's getting a good low. I don't know how I wasn't on Kenneth Walker last week. I just didn't play him. 6,200 for his like workload versus Carolina seems like a very good price. His ownership's around what 11%. What do we have him at? 11.
Don't feel too bad. He got 2 touchdowns in that game, which is huge. But he only got 17 carries for 43 yards, so he was very inefficient.
Oh,
only
really?
Only 2 targets, 1 reception. Box score was efficient, but
we have him at 17% ownership on RG. I don't know.
What about
what?
the other side with Miles Sanders too?
Yeah, that's the one I like. The Red Rifle is going to get that offense going.
Red Rifle.
I cannot play anything attached to Andy Dalton to 2023. I cannot believe he's still in the league. But Thielen's going to be, when we get to receiver, I think Thielen's going to be relatively chalky. Sanders stinks. I'm going to tell you something about Sanders. He stinks. Like, did you guys watch the game the other night? Like his first carry, he broke it for like 11 yards. And then it was like, I don't know what they were trying to do, but every first down was the same play over and over again. It was a 1-yard run into the line. And it was just Sanders. They threw him right in the line, and then he just couldn't get anywhere. Chuba played better than Sanders.
Yeah, but now defenses have to respect Andy Dalton. Can't be loading the box with.
Yeah,
that's right.
The Red Rifle. Well, when they find out he has no soul behind the line, it's just like they might be scared.
Yeah.
I was going to mention Ramondre Stevenson, but I don't think I want to, at least on DraftKings. I know he's cheap over on FanDuel. I don't want to mess with him against the Jets D, although I am this for anybody who sports bets out there. Anybody do the Wong teasers?
Big T.
This is the Wong game, not the wrong game, the Wong game. So they're tuning it. It's the key number. You with a Wong teaser. For those that don't know, you take it's either the dogs at 1.5 and to 2.5 underdogs. So you get the 6 points. So you pass through the key number 3 and you pass through the key number 7. And you also can do it with favorites of 7.5 to 8.5 points. But this Jets team is the perfect dog at 2.5 point favorites. 2.5 point dogs. You get the 8.5 points, and it's also an extremely low total. The total is like pressing like 36 to 37, depending where you're shopping. So this is a really good game to tease with someone like Baltimore, the Jags, or the Saints. So I've already hammered it. I've hammered a bunch of Wong teases, so I can't wait to fire out some Wong tweets when they all hit. But get on board with me. Noto, make the drive. Write that down.
Just bet them outright. Pays better.
Yeah. I have a lot of Wongs tied to the Pitt game too the other night, which was the perfect scenario. But I should have just bet them outright too. To your point. All right, let's move it on over to quarterback. The chalk is going to be Kirk Cousins at 6,900. You get the 6,900 nice price tag. You get the 54 the 54 spread. You got a great matchup for him. The Chargers have allowed 439 yards per game, allowed a ton of fantasy points to opposing QBs. So we got to at least mention if we're going to play him or how we're going to fade him. But Justin Herbert's there, Mahomes is there, Trevor Lawrence. Noto, what are you thinking at this position?
Yeah, nothing bad to say about the quarterbacks in the Chargers game. I think both Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert, strong plays. You can play them tournaments, cash games. We generally don't need to worry about ownership at quarterback because it's pretty spread out. In terms of guys lower owned that I like Lamar Jackson quite a bit. I know he's been really bad, but they've had 4 rushing touchdowns, none of which have been his. Now you don't have Justice Hill. No J.K. Dobbins, and now we get a nice matchup against the Colts at home. They have one of the worst secondaries in the league, so I think we're finally going to see the Todd Monken offense really get going in this one. And then for cheap, I really like C.J. Stroud. The Texans have been down big in every game. I kind of expect that to continue this week against the Jags. He's already thrown for over 600 yards. He's an easy guy to stack with because Tank Dell's too cheap. Nico Collins is too cheap. So, yeah, I like C.J. Stroud quite a bit this week.
Bobby.
Yeah, so harping on the Stroud, like I wanted to play Mills. I should have just played Stroud. Like Stroud was, I would have been perfect everywhere. Dell, Nico Collins, overweight. Should have played Stroud. I like the Lamar call. Like I feel similarly to Lamar. Everyone chased Lamar the first 2 weeks. This will be the week where he smashes for sure. I would imagine. Yeah, outside of that, I think Trevor Lawrence is something like I think this Jacksonville team just with the pace. You're taking Zay, whatever his name is, Jones. I was gonna mix up Zay Flowers and Zay Jones. I knew I was gonna do that because I just talked about Lamar, but you're taking Zay Jones out of the offense. It's more condensed. Christian Kirk, Ridley had a so-so game last week. Evan Ingram's there. It's really just those three, and then ETN. Like I really like Lawrence. He's someone I'm going to try to get to a little bit. Herbert's stack is condensed. Like Herbert and Cousins. I don't love playing Cousins. I know it's a 1 p.m. game. It fits like everything you want with the Cousins game script, but for whatever reason, I just have never I feel like he's never a guy that's on the millie he's never a guy that's on the winning team. I feel like for whatever reason, or just maybe I haven't noticed it. For me, it'd be more condensed with Herbert, Mike Williams, or Herbert Keenan Allen, or that expensive stack. And then I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. I guess you could go Tua and Tyreek. Those guys Tua makes sense in that regard. A lot of people think that game's going over. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me at quarterback.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cousins, he doesn't have that rushing upside, but, with Madison not looking so hot, I mean, you got to expect he's going to be slinging it in this game. So the bonuses should be nice. 300-yard bonus should be nice. Got the easy play with Justin Jefferson. Also has a pretty elite tight end. So I like it. But Herbert on the other side, I mean, who do you guys prefer if you have to choose one or the other? Cousins versus Herbert.
I think it's Herbert, no question for me. Like he's gonna get going. New OC there from Dallas. His name slipping my mind for right now, but he's about to. I feel like he's in for a good game. He's gonna try to throw downfield more. Noda? What's his name? Give me his name.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. Yep, Kellen Moore. He's gonna try to throw downfield more. Hasn't broken. He's like on the precipice of being QB1 for a week. So I'm going with. I definitely prefer Herbert to Cousins.
I like Herbert more as well, but at the same time, I also like Kelly more than Madison. So I got to figure out what I'm doing there.
Yeah. So you just got to play a couple different scenarios. Yeah. I mean, and then we'll get into the weapons with Keenan and Mike Williams or the double stack. So I like your call, Noto, on Stroud. It looks like he can sling it. I like Trevor Lawrence, and just what you said, Bobby. The more condensed offense with Zay Jones out makes it a little bit easier. Go back to Ridley, Ingram, maybe ETN, but those are the guys that should put up points in this game. I like that Lamar call with Odell Beckham being potentially out. That could help. We just play it with Zay Flowers or Bateman. And then what about? I know Geno Smith is getting some love just because he's so cheap. What are your guys? What's your thought on him, Noto?
I've never been a big Geno guy. I don't know why. He's got a ton of weapons, so obviously, he doesn't need to do a whole lot to have a big game. I just don't really love that game in general. But I do like Gardner Minshew at 5,100. Catch-up game against the Ravens. Missing
Oh boy,
their best cornerback. I think Minshew's interesting. And are you guys playing the Tyreek, Justin Jefferson lineups?
I think you definitely do it.
Team jam them in at receiver.
I think you can do it.
Yeah,
I'll
you
probably
gotta go.
just do one or the other, but and I lean Jefferson, but
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about a receiver in a minute. But if
two-
you do it, you got to save it quarterback. So I kind of like Minshew with that lineup, and then I also like the Stroud lineup too.
Yep. Any interest in Deshaun or Tua? Or I mean, God, we're not even talking about Josh Allen. Would we have expected that coming into the season?
Yeah, I mean, Washington's got a great pass rush, and that could be great for Allen's, scrambling. He could have a really big day on the ground, and when he scrambles, that's true. But when he scrambles, I mean, Diggs usually gets open downfield. So both those guys being, really overlooked this week.
Russell Wilson, anybody?
No, definitely not.
No. He kind of smashed last week.
Late though, and one was like a Hail Mary at the end.
Still counts.
80-yard Hail Mary, 60-yard.
All right, let's move it on over to wide receiver. Obviously, the Chargers game has a lot of options here. We've got Justin Jefferson at 9,300 leads the way. The thing that's stuck out to me on Jefferson is the fact that he's smashed. He's 12 catches for 150 and 13 for 159. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet.
He was like 2 inches away in the last game.
He's definitely getting in this week.
Yeah, he's definitely getting in this week. I agree with that. And then on the other side, we've got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Do we have a preference there? One or the other, or or do we just like them? I mean, honestly, we should just like each of them. But you got a preference? No.
I like them both, but I never get Mike Williams right, and every time I play him, he goes out of the game in the second quarter with some type of injury. So I mean, I like Keenan Allen. I think he's safer, but I mean, man, it just looks like everyone's going to be playing Mike Williams because he's a lot cheaper. And that does worry me a little bit. They have the same air yard share. Keenan Allen's getting more targets. Keenan Allen's running more routes. So I'll lean with Keenan Allen.
Bobby?
I lean with Keenan too. I have the same issue with Mike Williams. I can't get him right, except one time I got him right and I won a live final seat. Only time I ever got him right, though. $6K for Mike Williams. I feel like that's a point in construction where you might be able to get underweight. The issue is it's just almost too cheap for the volume that he's seeing.
It's way too cheap.
It's way too cheap. That's the issue. Like I want to like be underweight or take the field, but I feel like I should be playing more of him. So
he should be like 68. He should be like 6,800.
I'm probably going to end up playing a little bit more. I'm probably going to play a little bit more than the field on Mike Williams and prefer to get to Keenan Allen over him if I had to pick between the two in a vacuum.
Yeah, and Noto, you said it, like the air yards have been there for Mike Williams. Last week he had the third most air yards. He's just cheaper and he has monster upside potentially. But if Noto plays him, he's going to get hurt. Is what we find out. So, all right. What about some other guys here? Who's popping? Let's see. Well, Christian Kirk is going to get played with Zay Jones being out. How do we feel about Kirk?
Treated me real well last year, and I mean, Bobby called that last week, just saying, they're saying they're going to get Kirk more involved, and they absolutely did. The injury obviously helped a little bit in the second half there, but really good game for him. I'm more interested in going back to Ridley. If you watch that game, he had 2 or 3 potential touchdowns just slipped through his fingers. We think he's still the alpha receiver in this offense. Houston just lost their best cornerback for 6 to 8 weeks. Got put on the IR, Derek Stingley. So I think it's a great spot for both of them. But I'll go back to Ridley if he's going to be the lower end of the two.
Bobby, do you like?
Yeah. So for me, I prefer Ridley. I think Kirk's fine as well. Like I said, it's going to be condensed there, and I think they're going to come in at a lot lower ownership than what we're seeing on these condensed offenses in the dome. So I think it's an interesting tournament pivot to get to the Lawrence stacks. If you want to double them, I think that's fine. They're also significantly cheaper than Jefferson and Williams, Kirk and Ridley. I think you could also go to Ingram, add Ingram in that stack. But yeah, for me, I like both. Probably my second favorite stack on the slate or game on the. They're my second favorite offense on the slate. Not necessarily my favorite game, but definitely my second favorite offense outside of the Chargers.
Yep. So here's the problem with Christian Kirk. It's just like my bet on Keith Kirkwood to score a touchdown the other night is I'm going to play Christian Kirk. I've been playing Chris Kirk. Whenever I play golf, I play Chris Kirk in golf. So, and it never works out, but I got to support my name.
Chris Kirk won me a good bit of money. And
yeah, no, he finally came on when I stopped playing golf. I stopped playing I'm talking like 5 years ago. I was like always playing Kirk, and also a guy named Chris Wood. So I was playing Chris. Or is that a golfer, Chris Wood too? Noto?
Maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, if it is, he's not anymore.
Yeah, or it may have been. Anyways,
Chris Kirk won me $200K. Like Noto I was hopped on a show. I wasn't even going to play that day, and I listened to Noto's PGA takes or the RG show, and I threw in like 150, and Chris Kirk was on the winning team that week for me. Big week.
Nice. We do have a kind of we've got some nice mid-range plays, at least from name value. I mean, Michael Pittman's a little more expensive, but he should be a pretty good option in the Ravens game. We've got can we go with Drake London, who finally, week 2 came out. Drake the Snake, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 67 yards, a tutty. Maybe like I do think that this is a game. I know everyone's saying Atlanta is going to slow it down. I think they're going to be forced. I think this game is going to pop off personally, and I might just play a lot of plays from this game and or whittle them in with some of the Chargers game. But other than that, we also have like Amari Cooper. Like this should be an Amari Cooper spot. He ended up kind of salvaging the other night, but certainly without Chubb, it's probably going to hit their run game more and force Deshaun to throw a little bit more. Tennessee, you can't run on them anyway, and they're everyone says the pass funnel defense. So a guy like Amari is interesting to me at 5,700 because I'm always looking in that price range because when Amari Cooper can go off for 30 fantasy points, and if you have him at 57, if he's you're going to need him at 5,700 if that happens. But Zay Flowers is in that range, and then we have like some decent plays at least for I know like Adam Thielen is going to be a cash play probably, but 3,900. I mean, what can you say? I mean, he got 9 targets, 7 receptions, 54 yards in the touchdown, 20 fantasy points. Could potentially be in play again, but and then we have the Green Bay situation to still monitor. But who are some guys in the mid range there that are catching your eye? You have interested in Noto?
Yeah, I love the Amari Cooper call. Pretty much any receivers against the Titans are going to be in my player pool. You brought up Michael Pittman as well. I've talked about liking Gardner Minshew, so I like that one. You can use Pittman either with Minshew or as a bring back to your Lamar stacks. We talked about the guys in Houston. I think Tank Dell and Nico Collins are both in play once again. Jacksonville's sort of a run or a pass funnel as well, similar to the Titans. Other than that, I mean, Jahan Dotson, everyone wants him to be a big thing. Maybe this is the week he gets off a little bit with all the attention being on Terry McLaurin. That's probably about it. Do you guys have any? Zay Flowers, we mentioned him a little bit with our Lamar stacks. Anyone else, Bobby?
Yeah, for me, you kind of hit on pretty much everyone. No one really standing out. Just looking salary wise, going down the list. Sorry. 50. Oof. Yeah, I think Flowers is a good one. Addison at 5.5, I think is very cheap in that game. The one I think people are going to play, and I think he's might be a better play than Addison, point per dollar wise, is KJ Osborne. He seems like a really good play at 4K in that game, but I think I think he'll probably see more ownership than Addison. In tournaments, I would just play Addison. I'd probably play both of them I'd probably be pretty overweight on both of them, to be honest. But then it's a question of Jefferson. Like, I don't want to play Cousins stack, so it's going to be just if they hit my teams or not. I'm not in on Cousins. I feel like everyone's going to, I don't know. This is definitely going to burn me not being in on Cousins the way I'm looking at these projections. But, yeah, if you're playing Herbert, I think all these Minnesota guys are fine run backs. Yeah, and Zay Flowers 5,400. I think he's good. Odell's out. Yeah, that's pretty much everyone I'm thinking of. Michael Thomas 5,300. I don't want to play him, but seems like he's going to get a lot of targets from Derek Carr if he's just going to check down for days. That game environment's atrocious, though. Elijah Moore versus Tennessee at 4,700. If everyone's going to go to Cooper, yeah, these guys are all guys I'd consider.
I got one last one. Josh Reynolds. It's obvious him and Goff have that connection. They're probably going to be more pass heavy without Montgomery. Amon-Ra dinged up on his toe. Reynolds is dinged up also as well, but got a full practice in on Friday. So, I mean, he's just so cheap. If you get a big bomb touch, I just think this game is going to – I just have so many warm and fuzzy feelings of the Detroit Dome games that I just gotta play it. But yeah, all right. Before Bobby, get ready. Before we move it over to tight end, I got a DM earlier saying we love the ad reads. Big Ticketmaster exec said we love Bobby doing the ad reads. Our sales are killing it.
It's good, Bobby, for the Ticketmaster. More memories are made when you're there for live action. And when you need tickets, Ticketmaster's got you covered. As the official marketplace of the NFL, Ticketmaster gives you more ways to find your perfect seat. Their interactive seat map gives you 360-degree previews of your section to make sure you have the best view of those pivotal plays. And if your plans change, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell or transfer your tickets. Plus, mobile tickets make getting in on the game a breeze. And you can even customize your Ticketmaster app to rep your team's colors. Find tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/NFL. There you go, Ticketmaster. Sorry for cutting you off, Kirk. I didn't mean to do that. I was getting into the read. I was trying to bring the best I could to the read.
I like it. Next time we're gonna finish. Next time we do the read, we're gonna finish with a Ric Flair woo. All right.
Yeah, I get you. I'll do that. Yeah. No, next week definitely gonna do that.
So practice it. Yeah. All right. Tight end, our favorite segment. Travis Kelce. So it's interesting, right? Like,
let me down.
Got
Kelce.
Yeah, but you've got to take him seriously every week because he can absolutely crush all of the other plays at tight end and give you a real advantage over the field when he does go off. So he is worth considering as a wide receiver one at 7,200. Yeah, sure, a little bit disappointing. Also, the game script might not be the best in this one if Chicago lays down again. We didn't mention Justin Fields at all at QB. I'm going to bring that up quickly. Are you guys clearly out on him?
I think it's a great week to play him in tournaments, but I don't know if I'm like the offensive line is banged up, right? Like Okay, that makes me he's going to run more if he's going to have to scramble, and he wants to run more. So I read a tweet. I forget who tweeted it out prior to this. It's just like, I think it was DKDFS or so the account on Twitter was, and this would have been a chalk week for Fields if it was like week 16 or week 17 last year and no one's playing him. I think that was the tweet. I don't know if it was verbatim, but I thought it was an interesting point.
Yeah, you got to think he's going to get more designed runs. He's only had 2 so far this season. He was very upfront about it in the interview earlier this week, and then you saw him hugging his offensive coordinator the other day. So they've apparently made up. And I think he's a good play on FanDuel. He's a little bit cheaper over there comparatively.
This is going to be a boomer take, but I hate that he called out his coaches.
Bob, this is a Celtics. Bobby has this problem with Celtics too.
I do. It's terrible to throw your coach under the bus. Like, I don't know. It's just not good. And that's what makes me scares me off, because maybe with this lineman out, they let someone get a free whack at him or something. You know what I mean? You never know what's going on behind the scenes.
What a crazy week for the Bears though. Allen Williams, and then
what was going on there? Like
the fact that what was his name?
Peanut Tillman was like
Peanut. Yeah, it was an FBI informant. Like, that was just like, oh, we're supposed to know that Peanut.
He's like an FBI. He's an FBI agent.
Yeah,
and he informed the Bears about them raiding the house, and then they retracted everything.
And now we've got nothing. We've had no news since on it. Crazy, interesting to watch, but tough week for the Chicago Bears for sure. We also have plays. So if Zach Ertz is a target monster in the year 2023, which is crazy. 8 targets last week against the Giants, 10 targets in week 1. They just don't have anyone else on offense, really. So I get it. Tough matchup against Dallas, especially if they want to key in on him for some reason. But he's going to be in play. Durham Smythe is going to be popular. Musgrave, Kincaid, Dalton Schultz was a great play last week. Although, was he? No, he wasn't a great play. If Ferguson was the great play, I got that mixed up. But Mark Andrews, right? So Mark Andrews and Kelsey are the 2 guys that can really blow out the field. Evan Ingram, I could have a good game in this spot, but Hawkinson could obviously have a good game in this spot. But how much do you guys like? I know Noto like Lamar. Are you pairing Andrews with him?
Yeah, I'll definitely pair him with Andrews. I was looking at this route participation for Andrews and Kelsey from last week, since they didn't play week 1. Kelsey ran a route on 56% of dropbacks. Andrews was up to 75%. So he was running more routes. Don't have to worry about him being limited at all. Good matchup. Certainly fine with Kelsey as well. I mean, he did have 9 targets. I have a hard time getting up at these price points for these 2, but I think Hawkinson's an interesting way to get exposure to that Chargers-Vikings game. And then the 2 cheapies that I like, Sam Laporta. You've been talking about the Lions game quite a bit. I think he makes a lot of sense at 4K against the Falcons. And then I like Durham Smythe. He leads all Dolphins wideouts in routes run so far this season. He hasn't really done much with them, but good spot there for him at 2,900. I think he'll probably be the popular pump play in cash games.
Bobby, who do you like?
At tight end, obviously everyone's playing Ertz with all these targets. He'll be tearing an ACL sooner rather than later, I would imagine, just because I don't know how much longer a guy like Zach Ertz can take with a beating of an NFL, actually the wear and tear. How old is this guy at this point?
And he had a bad back for years. How did he?
Yeah, I don't understand.
They must be giving him the good stuff. He must be getting the good stuff before games.
Yeah, definitely. Travis Kelce will probably have a bounce back week on the week I don't play him. I think Hawkinson's really interesting for tournaments. Just in that game, hopefully we get lower ownership, but he seems like he might be the lowest owned in that game. I think it will have a lot to do with his price being at 6,500. So I could see myself playing a lot at Hawkinson. Andrews, I like a good bit. He's getting Lamar is going to get going here. So Andrews is going to be someone he's going to go to that I think with Odell out, it just makes it more like Lamar loves his tight ends. We know that. I don't mind Andrews. Engram's another one at 4,800. I really like. That's pretty much it. Kylan Granson, if you like Minshew, I think at 3,100. I know Noda's been talking about Minshew. I think he's a really good play too.
So I was just looking at Pro Football Focus, and the top 3 matchups for tight ends, at least for on this site, are Hawkinson, Engram, and Kelsey. And right behind them is Ferguson and Laporta. I think Jake Ferguson is definitely, it's being a Dallas tight end is usually fruitful. I think he's got all the tools to be good. He did have a touchdown last week, didn't have a ton of usage, but I think you can play him at cheap. But those are the matchups, so that's where I'm probably going to be somewhere in there. All right, Bobby, you got any favorite defenses this week for the Bobby Gomes defensive segment?
Yeah, we're looking now. For me, basically, I like Jacksonville, but I do like their passing game now, so I don't want to play too much Jacksonville. I just want to go and check here what we got. Okay, so yeah, Jacksonville works. Who else do we get? Sorry about this, guys. Not really ready for the defensive segment. I feel like this is 2 weeks in a row now, which probably isn't the best job on my part. The Bills look like the chalk defense. People are going to play them. I like the Browns a little bit versus Tennessee. I think that's the Browns.
I love the Browns. I love the Browns.
The Browns might be the one. They might be the team. Schwartz got them playing really well. 3,300 versus Tennessee. I'm going to go to the Browns.
Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith should be able to do some damage in there. I wouldn't be scared to flip around and play the Commanders as opposed to the Bills at 2,400.
Yeah, I like that call too. Josh Allen, sacks waiting to happen.
Yeah, I was just going to bring them up. I make a little chart in the first look that compares defensive line versus offensive line pressures. And, Commanders number 4 on the week. So, 2,400.
Does the first look have DVOA? I didn't hit it this week.
So, I had to do EPA instead because Football Outsider is no longer around. I believe FTN acquired that data, and it's not free. So, I'm not sure.
If it ain't free, it ain't for me.
FTN acquired Football Outsiders data.
They're at least where it's housed.
Yeah, they're that's where it is.
Weird.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Favorite stacks. Did I miss anything? Am I supposed to do anything like promos or anything? Favorite stacks though, we're gonna do large, super large fields, then the smaller dollar. I mean the higher dollar small field stuff. One each. Started off Noto.
All right, I'm gonna avoid the Chargers game just because that one's pretty obvious. So I'm gonna go large field. I'll go with Minshew to Pittman and bring it back with Andrews or Zay Flowers, and then small field stuff. I really like CJ Stroud. You can pair him up with Tank Dell, Nico Collins, or both, and then you can bring it back with Kirk, Etienne, Ridley, any of those guys. And this still leaves you with a lot of salary. I kind of like cheap quarterback stacks because then you can play Tyreek, you can play Jefferson, you can play Keenan with that construction.
Bobby.
I'm going to go Lawrence on the other side of that game, Ridley and Kirk. I think that's going to be my favorite stack of the week.
You can play it in large field and small field stuff?
You can play it in both. Yeah.
I like Lawrence a lot. I was going to say that. So I got to find – I got to – so help me figure out. I want to play this Detroit game, but how do I play this Detroit game when it's when I'm thinking of Goff versus Ritter?
I wouldn't even play the pace. You're just playing in a bad pace.
I think this game is going to pop off.
You can play
really
pieces.
Do. Yeah, I'm going to. So maybe that's the way to do it and not stack it and then and use somebody else. But it just feels like I should.
There's too many offenses that are so condensed, dude, to play that game in high-paced spots. Don't play that game.
I'm telling you, mark my words, this game is going to pop off. And now I'm gonna
okay,
ream you out
how I go Goff and I'm on run.
No, I can't play the QB. That's the problem. I can't play the QB. So, I mean, I'm just gonna take what they gave to us, and I'm gonna play Herbert. Chalk. I don't care. And I'm gonna play Keenan over Mike Williams. I'm gonna fade Mike Williams. And I'm going to have Justin Jefferson, but then I'm going to try to get some of the Detroit plays, Atlanta plays in my build there. And that will be for the smaller field, high dollar stuff. Man, I want to play the other side. I want to play Stroud, Noto's boy, on the other side of Trevor Lawrence and with Nico and run it back with, I could do a Ridley or Ridley, ETN, or Kirk. Yeah, two of those three.
Or Ingram.
Yeah, Ingram too. That's the play there too. So I'm gonna make a few of those is what I'm gonna do for my large field stuff because I don't think Stroud's gonna get much love. I think this game is gonna get overlooked, at least on the Houston side. So yeah, but that's where I'm going. Any final thoughts for the people, Bobby?
No, that's it. Good luck, guys. Week 3, moving along here on this NFL season.
Noto.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up button. Leave us some constructive criticism in the comments. We love reading those. And good luck week 3.
But take it easy on us. It's week 3. It was week 2. We had we got chemistry to build over here. We're gonna get better. We're gonna start Ric Flair wooing. We're gonna bring the energy. We made a cognizant effort to bring more energy to the show. I hope you guys liked it. We're gonna have a good week all around for all of us. I certainly need one. But all right, this has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes Podcast, week 3 edition, and we'll catch you next week for week 4. Thank you.